All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Stock Analysis Friday on this March 21st, 2025, first day of spring. Hey. All right, so purpose of Stock Analysis Friday is for me to take a look at maybe some stocks that you're interested in buying. Perhaps your broker called and they're suggesting that. So we'll take a look at it here if you're interested. And I'll give you the analysis based off using my software and different forms and techniques of technical analysis. The other thing too is type your symbols in, and you can do that right now, into the comments area. And when you do so, if you wouldn't mind typing them in caps, and do no more than 3 at a time. That way we keep the flow going. And then also let me know when you type those symbols in, if you're already in it, you're long already or short, or if you're thinking about it. That way I can tailor the analysis or customize it to your specific needs. And I am going to go over a couple general analysis of the market. And I do that every Friday as well before we actually dive into the stock. So I'll give you that right after the administrational items I got to cover here. All right, so let's get going here. All right, first thing cover, of course, are the risks involved in trading. And like I always say, without those risks, there is no opportunity, not only in trading, but in life in general, right? So we want you to be aware of the risk. We want you to realize that nothing is guaranteed in the markets. We deal in a realm of probabilities. And you have to use risk control when you deal in that type of realm. And you have to know your risk going into the trade and also know things like what's your goal, what's your profit target? Is it a long-term investment, short-term investment, short-term swing trade, etc. You need to know that in order to properly execute the trade and know when to get out of the trade. And then also too, past performance in the markets doesn't always guarantee future performance. So if you're using an approach and it's working well, there's no guarantee that will continue to work well. So that's important to note as well. And then finally, when we talk about stocks here, please talk to your financial advisor or whoever manages your money to be sure what is recommended here is suitable for you. All right, I don't know your personal situation. Your financial advisor should, and run it by them to make sure it is okay for you to take that trade. All right, so with that done, we can move on to another area I want to quickly cover, and that is some of the books I have available. I've been in the business now for over 30 years. I've written several books, as you can see in front of you. I have two publishers, Wiley and McGraw-Hill. And my latest book, The Art of Trading, second edition, just came out and published by Wiley. And it literally came out a couple months ago. Feedback is very good on it, which I'm glad because I put a lot of effort in it. 608 pages, and there's a lot of good information that will help your trading in that book. I also spent quite a bit of time studying the Elliott wave. So I have, which is a form of technical analysis. You may see me refer to it today. And of course, I have a book out on that, and that was published by McGraw-Hill. And then I have a couple books on money management. So if you need help in that area, those are really good. And then I have a book also called The Survival Guide for Traders, which basically is a great reference and is a guide for how to basically design your trading business like a hedge fund. Okay. And with today's technology, you basically can do your business in anywhere or any location. So those books are available. I'll put a link in the recording description, or you can just go to our website and look at it. Same thing with our software. I'll put a link in the description down below. So I have something called the art that I developed. This can be used for trend trading as well as scalping the markets on any time frame in any market. I also have confirming indicators called the OWL, PTF, TLM, and ERI that are used along with the art to help confirm signals, and it's a really nice package. And then under that, I have our scanners. This is how I find stocks to trade on a weekly basis. I run by the scanners, and then the risk reward and trade size calculator are used for calculating trade size in any market, any trade, including futures and stocks. So again, I'll put a link below there, but you'll see me using the software today. All right, and then give us a like all right, if you wouldn't mind doing that. And I'm going to jump into some charts that I had previously drawn up earlier in the week. And this one's on the Dow Jones, for example. And obviously, you know, we've had a pullback in the Dow, and it certainly has broken the trend line, okay, on our daily chart and even our weekly chart. And notice this little area here that's in blue up here. This is a target zone, all right? And I'll go over that a little bit more in detail. So that's something we're keeping an eye on. That's a long-term target zone based on the bull market we've been in since 2009. So when we get to that area, it means that the bull trend could end at any time. And so we kind of keep an eye on that. And we certainly can see that selling off recently kind of caused a little interest. The chart on the left is a 60-minute chart and of the Dow Jones. We had a little bit of support here around 40,000 area back in here. This was based on a area before in the market in the Dow that was a ledge, so to speak, down in this area here. So basically this little gray area here is based off this little support area down here. All right, that's how that works. So, you know, looking for a bounce. We got a little bit of a bounce this week, and we're due for one. And then we'll see what the market does after that. Also, too, if we take a look more specifically at that daily chart, we've got some interesting things on it that we want to pay attention to. We've got a couple support levels that I'm keeping an eye on. Here's our wave 5 long-term target up here. And then notice we possibly could have a double top here, up here. So that was kind of interesting. We also have an inverse head and shoulders. So that's another thing that is a technical analysis type of thing. So this would be the head down here and shoulder 1, shoulder 2, and a break in that. So what I'm interested more in seeing now is, yes, we've had a big impulsive move down. We'll find a bottom someplace and get a move back up. We kind of found that this week. I'm more interested to see now what it's going to do, because this move up could go as high as 50% of this move here. Call that an inflection point. And then I want to see what happens, because if we pull down and don't take out this bottom and head back up, then we could be in a possibly ABC correction to the upside or a new trend to the upside developing. And if that's the case, that would mean more highs. So I want to see what happens with that. And the key thing with the next thing is, are we going to go here and here? If you can draw a trend line, then you're up. But we also could get this configuration. We could get a little move up and then down. All right. So I want to see what the market's going to do after the correction. So I think that's a big thing to watch for. And that may take a couple of weeks before we have any idea, maybe even a month before it heads back down, or it may happen very quickly. So we are anticipating at some point a very large sell-off in the markets. And I've been saying this for a long time. It's not a matter of really if, it's more rather of when. It is building a case right now that we could be entering into the beginning stages of a bear market. I think we got to be careful about panicking on that, because at this particular time, it is very possible to rebound here and make another high. So we need a little bit more price action, which means time, to take a look and see what's going on here and see if we are in a bear market or if we are in a sell-off, perhaps due to tariffs that may be temporary. We'll have to see how that works. But in any case, we'll keep an eye on it. But we do want to kind of be a little careful here. And I would be careful about going into long positions. I would also probably talk to your financial advisor and ask them if we do get a major sell-off, of course, how is that going to affect your portfolio and what you can do about it to hedge that portfolio, because you can do that. All right, S&P really kind of mimics what we're seeing on the Dow, and the NASDAQ is also mimicking it straight down. It's amazing how quick and fast this move down is, but that can happen in the beginning of fairly significant decline. So that's the other thing. That's not a normal profit taking. That's really more of a fear or people leaving the market. So that's kind of interesting. And we see that in a bear market, but we also see that in certain circumstances where the market sells off based off fear. And so we'll see what happens with that. We kind of saw that in COVID, and then you had a complete recovery. So kind of want to keep an eye on that. All right, Bitcoin here, just a little thing on Bitcoin here. All right, I think we're going to get more highs in Bitcoin. I don't think the move is quite over. We're in a target zone. We came down to a target zone, currently in it. We may go a little bit lower because we have some indication on the short-term time frame that this move down may take one more direction down. We've also hit a number of fair value gaps down in this area, which is good because it needs to do that. The market needs to clear out those orders before it can go higher. I'm looking at this may be a good area to start thinking about trickling in. You may want to hold off and see if we get one more low first. But I think after all this is over, we should see one more high on Bitcoin, and I'll leave it at that, okay? The real estate market, kind of like the stock market, has been bubbled for quite some time. This is the Case-Shiller Index versus the CPI. And the Case-Shiller Index is represented by this red line, and that represents the average prices of homes in the United States. And under here, okay, we have the CPI, which is basically Consumer Price Index measuring inflation. And this chart goes back 50 years. So the bottom line is housing has always kept its head above the CPI. And we see that graphically here. So that means housing is actually not only a good place to live, but a decent investment as well. And there's times when housing, just like the stock market, gets manic. So it gets too far away from its norm. And that's what we saw back here during the financial crisis. But look at where it is here. Twice as bad, or twice as stretched, I should say, as the financial crisis. So if you believe in the fact that things eventually get back into a normal sequence like this, then you got to believe we're going to have a 50 to 60% drop in real estate to get it back in line, maybe even more. Okay. So that causes me a little concern on the real estate market. So I think when the stock market goes, when it goes, maybe it's going now, but when it goes, that maybe lead into a recession, and that may bring real estate down if people lose jobs. Now, with that said, a forecast like this obviously isn't very optimistic, right? But I think it's realistic. And it doesn't matter who's president, okay? It doesn't really matter who's in office. Cycles in the market repeat and, sometimes get delayed. The Fed pumping money into the stock market has created this bubble, basically. I mean, the market should have corrected back in 2022, but the Fed has kept it alive for quite some time, actually maybe even before that. So I just wanted to share that with you. I'm not going to go into great detail any more than that, but that kind of gives you an overview of the market. And if anything changes, we'll update that every week. All right, here's the latest on the Dow. We can see a little bit of a move up off the bottom here, which is kind of good. I think probably we'll see something like that, and then we'll see what the market does, okay? All right, so let's see what everybody's got to look at. I want to jump into your stocks here. We're going to be together for about a half an hour today, so I'm going to move it right along here. All right, so Al, how are you? IBO, okay, IBO. Let's take a look at IBO and see what's cooking on that. All right, not too much history, Al, but look at that move up from $1 to $6. All right, don't chase that. Okay. I obviously some news has come out. This must be the latest thing out there that's booming along here. But there's so much risk in this thing retracing before it goes higher, especially when you have it occurring over such a short period of time. So I'm not going to recommend it right now. Amazingly enough, it had a red PTF on the daily chart. So that's kind of interesting. That hasn't turned green yet. So maybe think even about a short position here, but I'm not recommending that. Okay. So I would pass on that. Let's take a look at ALUR. All right. So this one here, obviously a little bit more history here. Not much though. All right. Again, a low price stock at 342, and we've seen a bounce off the bottom on that. Okay, so that's kind of a good sign. So, you know, obviously short, based a little bit, bouncing up. We kind of got a interesting price bar forming today. We've got a nice spike up and then a pullback. I'd be interested to see how this closes today. We also, markets have a tendency to fill gaps. So let's see if it wants to pull back. Again, you know, if you go long on something like this, you got to put your stop at the bottom, and we're at 340.40, so that would mean a stop of right around 220, a little bit below the that, you know, right in that area. So that's a pretty significant stop based on the price of the stock. So I think probably a no-go on that one. All right, Stuart, how are you? Google, G-O-O-G. Let's see what's happening with the Googie. I mean, Tesla has been just rocketing down, so we'll look at that next. And let's see what we got here. So I had a client that was in Tesla, and thank God we got out a long time ago on that, because that really started moving to the downside. All right, let's let that chart in the center that's black in color reload here. Data must be a little wacky on that. All right, so we have pulled back. All right, I don't know, Stuart, if you own this or not, or you're thinking about it. But while we wait for that chart to load, which is kind of weird that it's taken so long, we got a red PTF on the 60-minute chart. So I find that kind of strange there, right? So you kind of want to be careful with that. Let me just open up on another window, one of my data providers, and see what's cooking on this. It's kind of weird. Oh, I should love technology. I use this a lot, so I really haven't seen this before, so I don't know. Stuart, did you break my system? All right, let's see Tesla here. That was really weird. I don't understand that. Oh, there's Google. Now it showed up. I just had to type in Tesla. That's all. Now it'll change to Tesla. Don't go in Google. It's still coming down, okay? Now it's going to switch to Tesla. So give that a minute. But it's kind of strange. Let me go in. When this loads, let me go in and wipe some of the charts out on this tab here. That's really weird. Boy, sorry about this, guys. I haven't had this before. Huh. I'm going to duplicate this window here and put this here. Let's see if we can figure this out. Maybe that's not going to work either. Huh. Isn't that odd? All right, now it's loading. Must be something in, I'm using kinetic data, so it must be something maybe with their servers or something. I don't know. Okay, there's Tesla. I'm going to just take a quick look at some other things here that may be screwing something up. I don't know. Yeah, there's something wrong with this. I'm gonna delete this chart and create a new one in a minute, but I gotta wait for it to load. It's not liking something here. All right, so let's get rid of this, and then let's create a new one. Put that baby right there, and sync it up. Okay. Let's try this and see if that fixed it. Sometimes you got to do little things like that. All right, so Tesla, all right, a little bit of a rebound, but Stuart, it doesn't look like the bottom's in on this, okay? And that is the problem here, okay? So we got to be careful. I'm going to put a little bit more price bar activity on here. Okay, but as you can see, way up and then way down. You can certainly see that on the chart on the right, which is the weekly chart. So yeah, and you know what's causing this, right? So it looks like some more downside on Tesla. And kind of at this point would hold off unless you want to support Elon, of course, which is, I think, not a bad thing to do. But you know, at this particular point, it still has not gone below the pyramid on the weekly chart, but boy, what a move down. Okay. So if you're thinking about going in, just hold off maybe a little bit longer, unless, again, you want to trickle in here. That's how I would do that. All right, James got some information here. We love your likes. Yep. Okay. Let's see what we got here. All right. Al's back with PR. PR. Let's hopefully this chart will load. This chart does not load well or fast. Then we probably got an issue with data. Otherwise, it could have been the catch. Okay. So, all right. So Al, you're thinking along on this, trying to figure out, we got a kind of a nice target with the PTF on the weekly chart above here. And we've kind of moved up pretty quickly, actually in the last month, number of pyramids in a row. Here's what I would suggest, okay? I don't doubt this is possibly a good long position at this particular point, but we've got so many of these triangular pyramids in a row here, and we've had a big move up. So we're kind of due for a pullback. And what I like to do in a case like this is try not to chase the market. Now, maybe we'll make one more high before it pulls back. But I would sit here patiently, like a lion in the woods, waiting for its prey. And then I would wait for this to pull back, okay? On this chart here, basically same type of move. We're all the way down to 0 on here. So I think we're kind of due for a pullback. We've got a little bearish divergence building in the OWL, which is our histogram right below here. So there you have that and that. So I would tend to wait on that, but I keep an eye on it because I think if it pulls back to that 1341 area, it's not so bad. So maybe a watch list for this one, PR. All right, and then let's take a look at BABA here, or Alibaba. All right, and we'll see what is cooking on this one. All right, so that is perking up way up there. All right, so this is kind of a nice one too. It's moved off its bottom. So here's a nice example of a basing bottom. So when we look at this here, you just draw a little here. That should have been a little higher like that, but you get the idea. So it broke out of the channel. All right, that's a good sign. And you can see the breakout here. It's going to pull back, and I only say that because it's starting to now. And we have a red here and a red here. So the objective of this swing is done. Let's wait for the correction and see what happens with that. So hold off on that one too. All right, let's see. All right, oh, wow, stepping up to the plate with a possible short position here. Woohoo! All right, VEEV. Let's see what we got cooking here. All right, kind of messy. Doesn't really excite me. I don't know why you want to short this, because if anything on the long-term charts, to me, it looks like we may have a 3, a 4, and then a 5. So even though this may, you know, bounce around or pull back a teeny bit, it looks to me in the weekly chart you're going to be fighting the longer term bullish trend. And this is kind of interesting, you know, when we see stocks like this, and I see quite a bit of them like this, it makes me realize that some of these stocks have more highs in them, which is another reason that leads me to believe that we may not be quite entering a bear market yet. But, you know, there are stocks that don't always follow the market. So, but in any case, I don't think I do anything with that, Al. All right. It's not glaring to me that we're going to get a move down. And even here, I mean, you got even this situation here, you don't really have bearish divergence because you don't have a high. All right. Here you may have a little, no, you don't even have that there. Okay. So I'm saying no. All right. All right. Let's go to Lowell. Hi, Lowell. All right. KR. Let's see what's going on with that one. Kroger. And you are long on that one. And let's see what we got cooking. All right. So if you're thinking of taking a long, don't do it. All right. If you are already in a long, then you're probably sitting on some pretty good profits. And you kind of want to see how much higher this could go. But we are entering the target zone. The target zone is 67, basically $68 to $84. All right. So I don't want to suggest this for anybody new because I don't know if the risk reward could be there on this. It is indicating a green PTF on both the 60-minute chart on the far left and the daily chart. Whoops. Let me switch that over. And the daily chart, I want to see what the ETF PTF is there. Okay, so that's yellow. So maybe one more quick high, but I think that's it. Now, if you're long on this, you could put your stop right under here, okay? Or you could just draw a trend line, all right? And there's different ones you could draw and use that as a marker to get out, okay? So KR. All right, ATLX. ATLX. Let's take a look at that bad boy. All right, so not bad. Boy, look at the big swings on that weekly chart. Woo! All right, how would you like to be? This is why I don't like to chase markets. How would you like to get in over here at 70 back in 2021 and still be holding it down at $5.85? So if you didn't get out of that, you'd be in a world of hurt. And you have been for a long time. All right, so we're getting a little bit of a perk up on this here. We still have some active pyramids on. Let me open this up on the weekly chart. You can see great short trade. All right, but no long position being initiated on that time frame. We're starting to see a little bit move up. Let's put this on a watch list and come back to it. Now, with that said, you know, if you're a swing trader that holds things for literally about a week or two, you are getting some move off the bottom there. But even so, you don't have any definitive trend now in place to the upside. So put that one on hold. Keep an eye on it. All right. Let's see what else we got here. OKTA. OKTA. Let's see what we got there. Okay, so probably long on this one, questioning. We did break a area there of resistance. That's a good sign. We moved up again. You know, I try to. If you don't mind going in and then having this go down to 90 before it goes higher, and it's a long-term trade that you're going to hold for a long time, like years, then you go into it now. Otherwise, if you're trying to time this better, you got bearish divergence here. You've got probably a retracement coming up. So if we just draw a simple retracement on this time frame from here to here, you're looking at probably 105 to 98. All right, is a possible pullback. We may have had that. So maybe on this, we're going to make one more high first. So let's see what we got there. Might have misspoke on that. If you want to get up to 123 to 135 over the next week, not a bad trade. But otherwise, if you're looking at this for a trade to hold for a few months, I wouldn't take it here right now. Okay, so I'll leave that up to you on what you want to do with that. All right, CAH. Let's see what we got there. Okay, thinking along here. I think this one, like the others, just overextended right now. All right. Again, my methodologies, I don't like to chase markets. All right. Sunil, how are you? All right. Let's see what you got cooking there. Hope you've been doing good over there. Sunil is overseas. All right. So let's see what we got here. So shot. All right, so shots going all way up and now all down. So penny stock at 46 cents. Do have a green PTF, but we don't have enough of a turnaround yet. So be careful with penny stocks. You think they're so low, you can go in, but you know, if this goes down to 25 cents, you've lost 50% of your money. Okay, so be careful about this one. I don't see a strong enough move off the bottom to suggest it at this time, but bring it back next week. Okay. AMD, let's take a look at that. Okay, this is Advanced Micro Devices. And again, let's see what's cooking with that. So, you know, it's basically come down pretty much along with the market, accentuated down here. Maybe a little bit of a turnaround here, really long owl. So when, you know, that's excessively long. So it's due for a move up. All right, we had a first move up off its bottom here. If you wanted to wait for this to go green before you go long, you could do that. This is green here. So I would imagine we're going to have short term some more upside that would change that to a green. If you want to take a flyer, yeah, you could go long because you're pretty close to the bottom here and put your stop at the bottom. If you want to wait for the proof of a trend, because you still technically have a pyramid trading point there, you kind of want to take that out. I don't know if we took that out on this price bar. I don't think we did. So you got to wait for that, or you got to wait for some type of ability to be able to draw a bullish trend line. So I would put that on hold, but I think it's, you know, I think it's a possibility at some point. All right, Al's back with a possible short here, BURL. All right. If I missed that one, I apologize to you, but let's see what we got cooking here. Okay, so, all right, green PTF on the 60 minutes would kill a possible short position on that, okay? So notice the owl on the weekly turned red, 1, 2, 3, about a month ago on that pyramid. That would have made more sense for a short. So I think it's too late, okay? All right, let's see what we got. All right, I'm going to a couple more, and then we're going to wrap it up because we're hitting our time limit here. And let's see, SMCI. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. We obviously looked at this before. So SMCI had a fair value, or had support here, not a fair value gap, but support here. Did have a fair value gap up here. We kind of are bouncing around in that area again. You can see it even on the 60-minute chart. You can see it here. And this is bullish. This is bullish. So this one here, if it didn't have the red PTF on the 60-minute chart, I'd say wait for a breakout. You've got a whole bunch of pyramids that are blue in color, bracketing this market. You also have one forming on the 60-minute, but the red PTF, I would not trade against it. So the 60-minute chart is red on that. All right. So there we have it. And let me go through here a little bit more. Okay. I think that's it. And I think that's a good place to end, guys, because it's a couple minutes over. Let's see who we got. Sunil, hey, good to see you too again. And Thaddeus Miller, how are you, Thaddeus? How are you? All right, and I think we got them all. Okay, so let me let's just quickly take a look at the NASDAQ. All right, it pulled down this morning, pulling back up. So there you have that. Not unusual to get a big swing in the NASDAQ at the open and just for about an hour after, or at least a half an hour. All right, so that's not unusual. All right, folks, that's it for this week. We'll catch you next Friday. Have a first good day of spring, right? All right, and as Gene says, at the end of all our webinars here on YouTube, give us a like. All right, and so you guys take care, and let's see what this market does over the week. I'll update the market update next week, but I'm kind of waiting to see how it responds after we get a rebound from this initial move down. All right, have a good one. We'll see you back next week.